Ngozi and Amoka were not just childhood friends, they were sisters by circumstance. Their lives were intertwined from the moment their parents, who were also close friends, got married the same year, conceived at the same time, and gave birth in the same hospital on the same day. The two girls grew up inseparable, sharing everything, from secrets to dreams and aspirations. Their bond was so profound that their parents raised them as though they were twins. As children, Ngozi and Amoka climbed trees and played make-believe games. They promised each other that nothing would ever come between them. As teenager, Ngozi and Amoka danced at the village cultural festival wearing matching outfits and exchanged friendship bracelets. Their laughter echoes as they talk about their future dreams. This bond only deepened when they both chose to study the same course in the same university, ensuring their admissions aligned. If one failed to get into a program, the other would wait until they could go together. They celebrated victories and comforted each other in setbacks, always hand in hand. After university, their lives took divergent but equally promising paths. Ngozi married a modest businessman, Emeka, who was hardworking and kind, while Amoka married a well-connected entrepreneur, Obinna, whose affluence opened doors to an extravagant lifestyle. Despite the differences in their circumstances, the friends remained close, attending events together and sharing their lives with the same enthusiasm they had as children. Ngozi and Amoka attend social events as couples, wearing matching outfits and laughing together. Life seems perfect. Both ladies belong to a women's club association. They discuss community projects and goals of the association. Amoka was always calm and focused, while Ngozi was the outspoken one, advocating for herself as the next president. Not so long after that, Ngozi's husband's business begins to fail. He fell victim to scammer who lured him into a business that didn't exist with promise of high return on investment, and he lost all his money. The once happy household struggles to meet its needs. Quarrel became the order of the day. Amoka and her husband step in to support their friends. While Emeka's business was in a downturn, Obinna's ventures thrived. Amoka and Obinna, ever generous, supported Ngozi and Emeka in numerous ways, paying bills, funding their children's school fees, and offering business advice. At first, Ngozi was grateful, but the cracks in her self-esteem began to show. One afternoon, the two friends went shopping at an upscale boutique. Amoka, who was footing the bill, cheerfully encouraged Ngozi to pick whatever she liked. As they finalized their purchases, the boutique owner casually remarked, "Madam, let your maid pack the goods to the car." She was referring to Ngozi. Amoka immediately corrected the woman, but the damage was done. Ngozi's heart sank. She began to wonder if she now looked like a shadow of her friend, diminished in stature and importance. At social gatherings, former friends who once flocked to Ngozi now gravitated toward Amoka, eager to bask in her affluence and charm. Though Amoka remained warm and inclusive, Ngozi couldn't ignore the creeping feelings of envy. The defining moment came during the election for the presidency of their women's group. Ngozi had long dreamed of holding that position and had made her intentions clear. However, when the time came, the members rejected her candidacy, citing her lack of finance and connections. Instead, they unanimously backed Amoka, believing she was better positioned to advance the group's goals. Amoka declined but was persuaded by both the members and, ironically, Ngozi herself. "It's better you take it than someone else," Ngozi had said with a forced smile. Inside, she was heartbroken. Being the women club president has always been her dream. Her childhood friend now seemed to have everything: wealth, influence, admiration, and even the position she had coveted for years. After the election, Yugo, a member from their women club, went to visit Ngozi at home. Ngozi welcomed her and they sat down to chat. Yugo told Ngozi that she doesn't believe what is happening to her and hers Hosham was ordinary. She said, "I'm not supposed to say this because I know how close you and Amoka are, but I don't know how to keep quiet when I see wrong," putting ideas into Ngozi's head. Yugo asked Ngozi how she is sure that her problem wasn't from her childhood friend Amoka. She told Ngozi not to be deceived by their bond. She said, "Why would all of a sudden things are going all bad for you and your husband while your friend Amoka and her husband flourish? You are now a charity case for her. She uses you to flaunt her wealth. You are now like her maid and she pretends to be concerned. Open your eyes, my friend. Amoka is using you to shine. See, why? Didn't she insist on rejecting the position of presidency no matter how she was pressured?" Ngozi's envy festered into bitterness. Convinced that Amoka had stolen her dreams and aspirations, the seed of doubt was planted on Ngozi's mind. The more she thinks about it, the more she was convinced she was under attack. Yugo convinced Ngozi to take her go see a dibia, a juju priest, to find solution to her financial crisis. The dibia told Ngozi to go get her friend's cloth if she want to get wealth and affluence back into her life. Convinced that Amoka had stolen her dreams, she agreed to bring Amoka's cloth. Ngozi then devised a plan. She went to Amoka's house and convinced Amoka to lend her one of her favorite beautiful dresses for an upcoming occasion. Amoka brought out all of her favorite dresses to her childhood friend to pick from, glad she could make her friend happy. Once the dress was in her possession, Ngozi returned to the dibia, a juju priest, who cast a malevolent spell upon it. Ngozi returned the enchanted dress back to her friend Amoka, who returned the dress back to her wardrobe. At midnight that day, the dress in the wardrobe transformed into a white snake and started swallowing jewelries and money in the household. Soon after that, Amoka's husband, Obina's businesses started crumbling overnight. Obina receives a devastating call: their company's biggest investor has pulled out. At home, Amoka finds her jewelries and money disappeared from locked safes overnight. Their lavish home begins to look barren, with creditors knocking at the door. Financial ruin engulfed their family. Amoka reassures Obina they'll get through it, but her voice wavers. Obina feels guilt for not being able to shield his family. Their children, usually full of energy, fall gravely ill. Doctors were baffled as no treatments work. Amoka spends sleepless nights tending to her children, feeling helpless. Rumors started spreading around town about the family's sudden misfortunes. Amoka's heart sinks when friends begin avoiding her. Even her closest allies hesitate to visit. Amoka and her husband had a dinner invitation with a prospective investor, so she decided to wear that dress that she had once lent to her friend Ngozi. As she fastens the dress, Amoka feels a searing pain. Her legs contort, scales replace her skin, and her lower body transforms into a snake. Her scream echoes throughout the house. Her husband and maid rushes in to seize a half-human, half-snake form. The maid flees in terror and spread the news. Amoka's upper body remains human, but her eyes glow with an unnatural golden hue. The news had spread round town that Amoka had turned into a snake, that she and her husband were into money ritual and it turned against them. A town meeting was called. Amoka and her family were declared outcast. Obina pleaded with the community, insisting they are innocent, but nobody listened. Amoka, hidden beneath a cloth, watches as her family were banished. The family relocates to a distant town, living in hiding. Amoka cries silently, her heart broken not only by her condition but by the shame brought upon her family. Obinna promises to find a solution. As Amoka's life fell apart, Ngozi's fortune soared. The wealth siphoned from Amoka's household mysteriously flowed into Ngozi's home. She soon became the Women's Club president. During one of her speeches, she made veiled remarks about the dangers of greed and ill-gotten wealth, a hypocritical jab at her fallen friend. Not everyone was convinced by Ngozi's new persona. A woman named Chi confronted her, questioning how she could speak ill of her lifelong friend Amoka. Ngozi dismissed her, claiming she was only speaking the bitter truth. However, guilt gnawed at her soul even as she outwardly thrived. For several months, Obinna took Amoka to various spiritualists and herbalists. Some exploit their desperation, leaving them poorer. A prophet promises deliverance but fails, leaving Amoka disillusioned. Each healer's home was different, from smoky huts to grand temples, but they found no solution. Amoka's snake form became weaker, her hope was dimming. At the brink of giving up, they met a powerful man of God who agrees to help, stating, "This curse did not come from nature, it is the work of betrayal." Amoka finally received her deliverance. Amoka and Obinna returns to their town, escorted by the man of God. The once vibrant community square is now tense with murmurs as people gather to see Amoka, back in her human form. Ngozi watches from the crowd, her face pale. The man of God commands the spirit to reveal itself. Yugo and Ngozi collapses, confessing their actions. Yugo confessed to taking advantage of Ngozi's envy of Amoka to separate and destroy their friendship because she had always been jealous of Amoka's wealth and all she stands for. The people gasp as Ngozi admits to being responsible for Amoka being turned into a snake out of jealousy. Amoka forgives Ngozi, saying, "I cannot carry hatred in my heart. It is love that saved me." Yugo and Ngozi were struck with madness, roaming the town aimlessly. Amoka and her family rebuilt their lives, stronger and more united. The community apologizes and welcomes them back. Ngozi and Amoka had once dreamed of opening a joint business to empower women in their community. They sketched out plans as teenagers, imagining a future where they would change lives together. After Ngozi's betrayal, Amoka resurrected the dream, using her experience to create an organization that supported women in need. Her strength and forgiveness inspired many, including some who had shunned her. Moral lesson: envy is destructive. Ngozi's jealousy turned her into a shadow of her former self, leading to her downfall. Contentment and gratitude are vital for a peaceful life. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new stories.